Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to take you with me on a ride along as I go about my day and take care of a few different jobs for some customers. Here's some of the stops that we have planned for today. We're going to start out by determining what's causing a knocking noise at a customer's water heater. We're then heading to a job where they've attempted to install their own toilet, decided they weren't quite comfortable with what they were doing, and wisely decided to call us in rather than push through it and potentially cause a problem. So we'll be completing the installation of that toilet. We're then going to head to a job where we are supplying and installing a new kitchen faucet for our customer, before moving on to another opportunity where we're actually going to film a tutorial on how to repair a specific shower. We've offered this customer the deal to let me come in and repair their shower completely free of charge if they allow me to make a tutorial for you guys. So we'll be doing that. Following that, we're going to be heading to one final stop where this customer has a leak at the ice maker valve for the refrigerator, and I believe we're going to end up replacing the ice maker valve. Based on the picture they sent me, that's likely what's going to be the case. We'll determine that for sure when we get on site. So let's get going. I don't know how clearly that audio is going to come through. I did take that video with my cell phone, but oftentimes when they would run water, whether hot or cold, even flushing a toilet, they would start hearing a thunking or a ticking sound near their water heater. It took a moment to find it, but what we determined is that one of the check valves associated with a circulating line for that water heater had gone bad. And every time they would run water, even cold, there would be a slight pressure difference, which will cause that thunking or ticking noise. There were quite a few elements within that little confined space that all can make similar thunking or ticking sounds depending on what type of water is being run. And the way that we associated and determined that it was actually the check valve was, first, I was able to tell that it sounded like it was higher up physically in the system than a lower point. Their pressure reducing valve is in that same spot, and that's a very common cause of noise when water's run, but their pressure reducing valve was much lower. So we could pretty much safely rule that one out. Plus, I installed that pressure valve just a couple of years ago, so I knew that while products can be defective, it was highly unlikely that would be the case. Once we were able to repetitively get the noise to recur, I then stuck my hand onto the check valve, I grabbed onto it, and I could feel it vibrate and shake in my hand every time that noise would occur, which told me the problem is with the check valve, not with another aspect of the system. We will not be replacing these products today. We squeezed this job into this morning just as a simple diagnostic for this customer, but I will be getting him a price to replace the check valves. We also discussed the possibility of replacing the circulating pump itself. He's unsure how old it is. He believes it's roughly 10 years old, and even the better quality pumps don't usually last much beyond 10 years. So it would make sense, simply from a long-term cost perspective, if it is that age, to just bundle everything together, get one lower price to get it all knocked out, as opposed to repiping some of the system, installing new check valves today, and then him having to call me potentially 6 months down the road to tell me that the pump has gone bad, and then have to do nearly the same job all over again, minus the cost of the check valves. So I'll be giving him options and pricing it both ways, and whichever route he wants to go, we'll return and take care of it for him. For now, we're moving on to the toilet installation job. Again, this customer has attempted to install the toilet themselves. They determined there was something wrong with the flange, that's the drain fitting that the toilet mounts onto. It's just underneath the toilet. I don't know what the problem with it is, whether it's at the incorrect elevation, if it's cracked, if it's broken. We're going to get that figured out. We're going to make sure it's in good shape, and then we'll install their new product for them. Well, that was an interesting one. Sometimes as a plumber, you have to be a little bit creative to figure out what the best system is for the specific application at hand. In this case, the hub of the 3-inch drain 90 that was coming up to the toilet had been sliced through, but it was only sliced through most of the hub. It did not go all the way through, and it did not slice through the internal pipe. Didn't want to have to cut out the pipe, because if I did so, then we would have lost the integrity due to the slits on the hub. We would have had to cut out the entire 90, put a coupling in the system, brought a new 90 up, and then reinstalled a new flange. That might not sound like a lot of work, but the problem is I would have had to have gained access into that floor, which is also the below ceiling, in order to do that job, which would have been a much more annoying job for the customer, as they would have had a lot more repair work to be done. Plus, the ceiling below was somewhat of a custom finish, just was not something that anybody was going to want to do. So instead of going the traditional route where we drill out the 3-inch pipe and either install a flange that goes directly into the hub or bring new 3-inch pipe up with a new flange, what I did was I went with the 3-inch inside style flange. Now, you may have noticed that I used a white or PVC flange, and the piping in question was black or ABS. I know there is a transition glue in the market that's designed to connect PVC to ABS, and I'm sure it works very well. However, my local code actually restricts us from doing so. They do not want us gluing PVC and ABS together, regardless of which glue or solvent weld is used. On top of that, this is an older home, which is why I had ABS. Here in my area, ABS is almost never come across unless it's an older home, and it's not something we can just go to the local store and pick up parts for. Would have had to order material in. That's why I used a style that actually pushes in with a gasket to the pipe. No code violation, we're not solvent welding PVC to ABS, and it's still a high quality system. It's going to be leak free. It's designed exactly for this application. So we were able to use that style system and save that customer from having to open up their ceiling down below. From there, got the toilet installed. All right. We're going to head on to the kitchen faucet installation and get that one knocked out. Let's go. Well, the kitchen faucet is now installed, and we get to head on to the next job. Now, I'm pretty excited about this next job. This is the one where we are going to rebuild a Price Pfister shower valve and be able to make a tutorial out of it. When I posted in the local pages wanting to know if somebody would be willing to let me rebuild the shower valve at no charge in order to produce a tutorial video, they were quick to reach out and say they would love to have that done. Theirs is not leaking, but it is getting stiff to operate, and it's going to be the exact same repair either way. You replace the cartridge when that happens. So we'll pull up there shortly, and maybe I'll be able to get a little behind the scenes footage for you of what it looks like when I make these tutorial videos. See you there. So I'm pretty much set up now to take the video. I've already got water shut off the house before I wash my hands, so Just gonna spray a little cleaner on there, which is probably not a good thing to do, but I'm doing it anyway. We're gonna get ready to go ahead and get this thing filming. I think I'm gonna leave the GoPro set up right here so you can kind of see what it looks like when I'm doing a recording shot. None of the footage from here will end up in the actual tutorial if I do, but you'll be able to see it here on the ride along and just get a feel for what this looks like. Try to remember not to look at the screens, look at the camera. Make sure we're rolling. If you have a Price Pfister shower valve or tub shower combination valve that's either dripping or stiff to operate like this one here is, I'm going to show you step by step exactly how to resolve that. If this video has been helpful, leave it a like and subscribe for more tips. Have a great day. And that's that. Got that video taken care of. We're gonna get cleaned up over here and then we'll head on to the next job. Well, that was fun. We got that footage done and I'm really looking forward to getting that video up. While I was making the recording, she actually went to pick her kids up and the little boy came in the bathroom after I finished up and told me I did a great job. So, always good to hear. We are now heading to our final job of the day. This is for our customer who has a leak on the shutoff valve behind her refrigerator. I believe it's the valve itself that's leaking. It will likely need to be replaced. We'll figure out for sure when we get there. Well, that's the end of our jobs for the day. Thanks for riding along with me and kind of seeing what a day in the life of a service plumber looks like. Maybe you learned something, or maybe you just had fun watching. As you may have seen, sometimes as service plumbers, we come across situations where we obviously need to fix the issue and address the problem, but we have to get a little bit creative in the approach that we take to do so. Of course, we still want to make sure what we do is code approved, we want to make sure it's done correctly and is going to be reliable for years to come. But sometimes you can't just go about something the standard repair method because you don't want to open up somebody's custom ceiling if you don't need to. Or you can't put the ice maker valve box in the exact location that you ideally would have liked to, which would have made your job easier, because they've got the whole area boxed out, and you don't want to mess up what they've boxed out. So you think of other methods that you can do to approach the situation at hand. There's no real one-size-fits-all. Honestly, that's my favorite aspect about plumbing, is when you show up to a job and the job turns into a puzzle and you got to figure out how to make it happen. The more complicated that puzzle is, the more of a feeling of accomplishment I get when I complete it. And I just really enjoy that. If you enjoy this video concept and you'd like to see more like this, let me know. This is sort of a new concept for me. I usually stick to the tutorial style videos and I'm still going to continue to put those out as much as I'm able to. But I like this too. I thought this was fun. So if you enjoyed it, let me know, leave it a like, subscribe if you'd like to see more videos. And you guys have a great day. Well, now that that train's passed through, maybe I can keep talking.